Welcome to Entrepreneurial Reality with Bash. Every week we'll be speaking to startup and scale-up founders to learn about them, their ambitions for the business, goals and objectives. Every conversation is a moment in time, documenting entrepreneurs' current situation with a view to coming back next year to see how they are getting on. Each journey will be different. Each innovation could be game-changing. I hope you enjoy. Series 1, Episode 11. I've got Luke Pitkin with me, co-founder of Sniiper. Luke, welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. So thank you very much for taking the time to share with us your current situation with Sniiper. Talk to us about the challenges you're looking to overcome with the solution, but also a bit of background around who you are as an individual and how you've got to where you are today.
My brief background is that I studied a master's degree in sports nutrition. I kind of did nutrition and sports through university, ended up working part-time in recruitment when I was still studying. I was kind of studying, paying for my master's, working at the same time with the view that I was then going to leave recruitment and go into the sporting world with my degree. Ended up just kind of getting sucked into that world, staying there, ended up getting an opportunity to go and work in Sydney in Australia, and ended up doing 4 or 5 years in recruitment. And it was whilst I was out in Sydney that I kind of came up with the concept that is Sniiper, started looking at the industry and thinking, I believe there's ways that we can change this, we can potentially innovate. And once I had that kind of idea in my head, I just ran with it in the end. I had an idea in my head, I started drawing plans out and putting together a business. And before I knew it, I could see where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. So I felt at that point, now I've got to commit and move forward with it. And kind of here we are.
Great. So how did you come up with the name Sniiper in the first place?
Sniiper, that name, the idea came from when I was thinking about the product and what the product wanted to do and what we want the product to do. I started relating that to words like scoping out an opportunity, targeting your next hire when you're kind of looking for your next job. And Sniiper as a platform is about kind of cutting through the noise and working as a precision instrument. So it allows employers to quickly find the right recruiter for them and quickly find the right candidate for them instead of having to kind of trawl through the sea of the recruitment industry, so to speak. And that kind of whole precision element, targeting, scoping out an opportunity is where the name came from, because I thought that tied in quite nicely. And then the double I just purely came from the fact that the single I was already a registered company in the UK. So we ended up with Sniiper with a double I.
Could you explain a little bit more around what you mean by opportunity?
A recruiter is scoping out their next opportunity to support a client. If a client is looking for their next hire, or really when I think about it, it's candidates as well, helping candidates to find their next opportunity. Like one of the big things we're going to do is we've got ideas of how we're going to bring candidates into our platform as well. So when they're kind of looking for their next opportunity, as in their next job, they can utilize recruiters on the platform to help them kind of, again, cut through that noise and get to the right person, get to the right job and find the next step in their career. So that's kind of what I meant by that word. Okay. So the specific problems that you're facing within the industry today, could you elaborate on that? Yeah, sure. So I think the big problems that we're trying to solve is firstly that the industry is experiencing exponential growth. So last year in the UK alone, there was over 9,000 new recruitment companies that were opened in the UK. And we've got 35,000 in total. If the trend continues and we get 9,000 new recruitment companies opening each year, yes, you're going to get some churn and burn, obviously, but the number of agencies out there is going to almost double in the next 4 to 5 years, and that then makes it really hard for employers to be able to navigate that. And employers are time short anyway, especially when it comes to recruitment and finding the right agency. If they're getting approached from all different angles, it's tough for them to know who's the right person to support them and manage all of that. So we are, as a platform and a marketplace, centralizing independent recruiters under our Sniiper umbrella, so that for employers, they can come to the platform. It's standardized. There's one set of terms. Everybody follows the same process, and it gives them access to, well, technically anybody that wants to be wants to be a part of the platform. And then for the employer, they only have to deal with the admin of dealing with one company, dealing with one business, rather than signing terms with multiple different agencies and managing them all through different channels. The second thing that I think that we're trying to solve is the fact that the industry is completely unregulated. I think one of the reasons that we're seeing so many people open a recruitment company is because it's so easy to do. You need no kind of qualifications, or you need no previous certifications or experience, and there's minimal overheads and there's minimal cost to opening a recruitment business. Really, you can open one from your bedroom. If you've got a laptop and a phone, you set up a company, you put yourself on LinkedIn and say that you're a specialist recruiter in whatever area it is that you want to do, and you're off. And I think that poses a challenge for employers further down the line as well, because you face that question of who do we know who to trust? Who do we know who's got the experience that we need and will be able to find us the right people? And we're trying to solve that issue by the rate and review system that we have on our marketplace. So every recruiter that becomes part of the Sniiper community has a profile very similar to the likes of the profile you'd have on LinkedIn. But we track live stats around how many jobs they've worked, how long they've been on the system, how many CVs they've sent, how many interviews they've had, and how many placements they've made. So it's raw data that the employer can use to review that individual, and then recruiters are given recommendations and referrals every time they engage with their employer through our platform. So that profiling element is becoming a really big part of the value that we bring, because employers can now come to the site, and when they've got an opportunity they need support with, they can look at the recruiters that have been on our system, assess them, analyze their capabilities, and it then should give them the confidence of, okay, this person has been doing this for a certain period of time or can actually deliver on what they say they can.
So you have this idea. How do you then go about building the market viable product?
Yeah, so I was quite lucky, if you like, or maybe you create your own luck. I don't know, but when I was working as a recruiter, came in contact with my co-founder, who's a gentleman called Martin Hunter, and I actually found him a job. We became quite good friends through that process of me working with him and finding him a job opportunity. And at the time when we met, I was learning to code. I was learning software. I knew I wanted to go into this world. I knew I was never going to be the person to build this, but I wanted to get an understanding of the basics and the foundations of how this works. And Martin, when he found out that I was learning, said to me, I'll teach you, I'll mentor you. So he spent probably about 6 months mentoring me. Every couple of weeks we'd meet up and grab a beer, and he'd teach me things and give me some reading material and some exercises to do and some learning to do. And I'd come back every couple of weeks, and it went on like that. And that relationship that we built then is what became our partnership. And one day I said to him, look, I've got this idea. The reason I'm learning software is because I want to build this product. I think that it can innovate in the recruitment industry. You've obviously been giving me a hell of a lot of time over the last 6 months, and we've kind of built this relationship. So it would be great if I could have you on board. And we ended up agreeing to go into business together. And that's probably been one of the, or if not the best decision that I've made so far, because the MVP, the product, was built for free. It was built by Martin. Martin's been able to create everything and handle everything as a dev. So it's meant that we've been able to bootstrap the business and been able to get the MVP out there purely off the back of the work that he's put into it.
How old is the application then, as it stands today? I've been on your website, had a look at a short overview of your demonstration, which looks very interesting. So sniiper.co.uk, with 2 I's.
Yeah, great.
So just tell us a bit more about the maturity of the products at the moment, and are you looking for funding at this point in time?
So yeah, we're still very early stages. I'd say that the product was launched on December the 4th, 2017. So we're coming up to nearly a year that we've been live. The version of the system that you will have seen on the homepage is like our second iteration, really. We launched a product in December that was completely different to what we have now. And the newer version of the platform was launched about 6 weeks ago. We've still got a long way to go. I think, like anything, there's always continual improvements that you can make. And there's some key features that we really want to build out. And I think once we do, we'll then have the product in I would say at that point, a very, very much MVP state where it handles the whole recruitment process well. I'd say we're probably about 3 or 4 months away from that. And with having just Martin and only having one individual working on the product, things take time. But we do now have a system that handles the full life cycle, from an employer posting a job up there, being able to review and connect with recruiters, CVs going through the platform, interviews being requested in the platform. It's all there. An employer can add all their colleagues onto the same company, and a company can have different contacts managing it. So it is getting there. One of the big things that we need to do in the next couple of months is, the next big thing for us is a messaging system, so that employers and recruiters can actually message directly through the platform rather than outside of the platform. But in the whole, I think, every single month we slowly get there. In answer to the other question is we're dipping our toe into the investment world. I think we can see the value of having bringing on people to support us. We have, as I mentioned, bootstrapped the company, so we're in no urgent rush to raise funds because our spends are minimal. Because between the two of us, we kind of handle the software development and sales and marketing aspect of it. But we also see the value in, if we have a little bit more capital and some extra support, there's some definitely areas that we can expand in terms of bringing more people in to help with business development, help with the product, help with marketing. But from my side of things, it's important to make sure we find the right people, right? We want to find somebody that not only brings capital, but maybe brings experience in saying, I've scaled a software company like this before. It's something that I'm familiar with, and this is kind of my network. These are the people that I can introduce you to, and I really think I can help drive the business forward, because that's what's going to help us as well, that kind of experience.
And that's the theme I'm coming across with many startups: sourcing the right angel investors in the first place, with the knowledge, the credibility, the network of influencers as well that they could leverage to help grow and scale the platform from a functionality standpoint, but also the market awareness and adoption is really, really important. And it sounds like you're focusing on that, which is great.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm very open and honest with the fact that I'm 27 years old. I came from 5 years in recruitment. I'm now trying to run a software company. I do have my limitations, and I am learning, and I've got a hell of a long way to go. And that being said, if we can find somebody that can act as, a mentor and provide me with support and guidance, there's going to be so much value in that. And I think regardless of your previous experience and regardless of your capability, I think there's always more that you can learn. I think there's never any harm in having extra opinions and extra people looking at a problem, because people will always look at things in different ways, and right now, being just the two of us, you are limited. So yeah, it is really important to us that we find that person that's going to say, look, I can really help drive this forward, not just here's the money, off you go.
And have you got any time pressures around finding that person or people?
No, not really. That's the beautiful thing. I mean, obviously, the only kind of time pressure is that Martin and I at the moment are working for reduced salaries. We've taken that risk to leave full-time work and chase the dream, and like anything, when you're starting up, you do take that risk of going without a salary for a little while, and that's the only big issue that we have, really, because, as I say, we've got no expenditure at the moment, so it puts us in a position where actually we can take as much time as we need to make sure we get it right.
And in terms of transacting on the platform already, is it live for these employers?
Yep. Yeah, it is live. It has been live since December last year. When we launched the product in December, we were transacting and we were open to connecting people straight away. We did have some fundamental flaws, which became apparent pretty quickly, that made things difficult, not impossible. But the whole time we have been transacting on the system. We've been connecting employers to recruiters. The only area we operate in at the moment is software development. Like, we decided to pick a niche. So I think we've got 67 different employers that have now come to the system, used the site, posted opportunities on there, and we've grown to over 300 recruiters on there as well. So we are slowly kind of growing, and we're growing nicely each month. But yeah, we have, as I say, like when we initially first started it, there were some kind of flaws that held us back a little bit. But second half of this year, making some changes, listening to what the market's wanted, it's really helped us kind of push on.
Why did you choose that niche in the first place, software development? Just give me your thought processes on that.
Yeah, so one of the big factors was software development was the area that I recruited in. I spent 5 years as a recruiter recruiting software developers, mainly within the .NET world, the Microsoft world, and a little bit of kind of front end focused software devs. So it was an area that I thought I kind of understand the languages, I understand the lingo, got a few connections in that area already. I think that software is also going to be a growing market. The world seems to be becoming software these days, so I thought it's something that's only going to continue to grow, and there's going to be continual opportunity there. And after working in recruitment, I know how hard it is to find these people. So I thought employers that they will be struggling to find software developers. So if we can bring them another channel that gives them the opportunity to reach out to more people and access more developers, bring the right talent in, that's always going to be appealing. So that's kind of what made my decision. And when I read, there's a book I read called The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. You've probably heard of it, but it talks about kind of picking that niche and finding an area, getting that one area right first before being a bit like a jack of all trades. And that's what we wanted to do. Like we again, just having me here doing the business development and the marketing and the sales side of it, if I was spreading my time over different industries and different areas, it would probably be a little bit more of a waste of time. Now that I've picked that niche, and I attract employers that are all looking for software developers, it means that the recruiters on the system are always getting opportunities that are relevant to them, rather than me dropping on software roles, then legal roles, finance roles. Everything that comes onto the platform is going to be relevant for the recruiters that we've collected on there. With the world that we're in at the moment, obviously, when employers are using a recruiter to find a software developer, is typically somebody that's senior, has experience. They're probably, if they are coming to our platform for juniors, they probably go to university fairs and things like that. So I don't know if we'd potentially be able to help them, but there's definitely something that we can look at in terms of like opening up our platform to candidates, to people that are interested in getting advice and getting experience, and getting them on there to connect with employers, maybe at a reduced fee, but not through actually kind of coming through a recruiter.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you. What about scalability of the technology as it grow and scale the usage? What would we be doing there?
So we were quite lucky actually when it comes to scale, because we qualified for the BizSpark program with Microsoft. I don't know if have you heard of BizSpark?
I haven't heard of BizSpark, but I know that there's a lot of accelerator programs with Microsoft.
Yeah, well, the BizSpark one specifically is basically free access to the Microsoft suite. So if you're a business, I'm going to test my memory here, but if you're a business that's privately owned, turning over less than $1 million, and is younger than 5 years old, you can apply for the Microsoft BizSpark program, and you basically put a pitch together with what you're doing, why you think it's going to be successful, a bit of a use case really. And if Microsoft buy into it, they basically come back and they give you use of the Microsoft suite for 12 months. So we were lucky enough to get onto that, and so far we're yet to pay for any technology when it comes to the software dev. And we're also hosted on Azure, the Microsoft cloud, which gives us great opportunity to scale, because as soon as we need more server uses, as soon as we get more users and we start to increase and see that growth, we can instantly scale up, because we've started off being built straight on the cloud, given to us by Microsoft, but it literally allows us to up our capacity within the click of a button and just bring new users on. I mean, that does run out soon, so the investment would start to pay for our server usage, but still, with where we are right now, it's kind of minimal costs. I think it's going to cost us £90 to £120 a month at the moment, with the kind of data that we're getting go through the system. So the money will definitely go there. It will help. As I say, we are capable of scaling. And I think the other thing for us is it's just about having maybe some more people really to help support Martin, because one person doing everything, it's a lot, right?
It's a lot and a risk. And a risk to the business, of course.
Yeah. It's a risk for the business, and it is a lot. So it would definitely be handy if we can get him some more people and we can get things moving a little bit quicker. Because that's one of the things with me. I always want to kind of go charging in like a bull in a china shop, and he tells me, specs out, okay, this feature is going to take this long, or this element's going to take this long because it's me doing it on my own, and I'm like, man, I want it done quicker. And it's just one of those things that you have to learn to be patient. That they're the two main areas, though. If we go back to where the money's going to go with investment, it's kind of that sales, business development, marketing area, and also the product development and having more resources.
Great. So what were the learnings then that you've had from the initial idea concept to where you are today?
One of the big ones for me is just to get a product out there and start talking to people about it. And it's something that a lot of people say, but I really, really do see the value in it now. Like when I first started, I was very shady almost with keeping what I was doing under the radar. And I thought, I'm sitting on this great idea and I don't want to share it with people in case somebody runs off with my idea and all the rest of it. And I learned very quickly that really no one cares. No one really cares about your idea. And everyone's so busy that they don't have time to, steal what it is that you're doing. And as soon as you start actually talking to people about it, their opinions on it and their feedback on it are what shape it. So it was just so important to actually realize, okay, we just need to start talking to everybody we can about this, everybody that we think might use it, because any ideas that they give us are probably going to be relevant because they're the people that are going through the struggles. Getting it out there as well, like just getting that product out there. As I say, the MVP that we launched last year, you kind of look back and you almost feel embarrassed by what it is that you actually delivered. But again, if we didn't get that product out there last year, we wouldn't have learned what we have this year, if that makes sense. We would have still been kind of heading in the wrong direction almost. We would have been building things that we thought were going to be relevant that really weren't. So it's just the quicker that you can get it out there and get it to market, the quicker you're going to learn and the quicker you're going to grow. So I'd say that's definitely one of the biggest lessons I've kind of picked up this year.
Is there a particular entrepreneur or business owner that you're following that you look up to? Is there anyone you could share with the listeners?
Elon Musk is a big one for me, I think. I know he's probably not the flavour of the month at the moment. I think there's a lot of negative press about him, isn't there, really? Because obviously that he was on that podcast that he was on where he was caught smoking weed. I don't know if you saw that.
I think so.
Did you not?
I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up. I think it was, is it Josh or I can't remember. It's an American comedian, but Elon Musk was caught smoking weed he was given a joint on there and smoked this thing live on a podcast, and he lost a lot of shareholders, I think, there and then, and he's had a lot of negative press. But I really buy into him. I've read his autobiography. He seems like a pretty cutthroat kind of guy, which maybe isn't the best kind of, but his work ethic, you can't like doubt the work ethic that he's got, and that inspires me. And I think also the kind of companies that he's involved with are all on a mission to really change the world, like to change space travel and the whole Tesla electric car thing. If it when it comes in, it's going to have a huge impact on the world. And I've got a lot of respect for him from that. And the work ethic that he puts in, I just buy into that. If you want to achieve something and you want to change something, you've got to work hard, committed, and you can't doubt the fact that he is committed to what he does. So that's another book as well. Like his autobiography is a good read. Kind of gives you an insight into what he's had to sacrifice and what he's done. I mean, when he left PayPal, I think he cashed out about 120 million, which he pumped all into SpaceX and getting that off the ground. And that was another thing. I think that's a massive risk, right? You just cashed out a hell of a lot of money, and most people would probably think, yeah, I'm going to be sweet for a while. I put my feet up for a bit, and he's gone, actually, do you know what? I want to send rockets into space and build the first ever private space exploration company and stuff like that I go, yeah, okay, I really kind of, that inspires me.
Yeah, likewise. And so with regards to a high work ethic, do you have any time to continue sporting interests, any sort of fitness interest?
Do you know what? I exercise every day, pretty much 6 days a week. I'm very routine. I get up in the morning and I'll be in the gym at 6. I always do 6 till 7:15 every morning in the gym. And for me, personally, it's one of the most important things to do, like to get out and get exercise, let off some steam, starts the day off great. Like I'm a huge advocate for that kind of thing. I don't actually play many sports anymore. I used to be into football quite a long time ago. I used to actually be into skiing as well. I used to race. Slalom skiing used to be the thing that I used to do on the plastic slopes here in the UK. But I when I kind of went to university, dropped a lot of the sports that I played and just focused on the gym, into my running as well. But yeah, if I'm not working, I will find myself kind of out exercising, doing something, because it's cheap, right? It's free as well.
So you're here now. You've
Yep.
got a platform that's coming up to a year old.
Yep.
You may be looking at funding in the near future.
Yeah.
And you're looking to scale and grow, bring more businesses into the ecosystem to recruit developers.
Yep.
Where do you see yourself in the next 12 months? And I appreciate that could be quite a difficult question to answer.
No, it is. It is a difficult one, because we need to decide on where we're going to go with investment, right? I'm actually going out to Australia because Martin is still out there. I fly out on Tuesday, and the reason I'm going out there is to kind of review the year and talk about where we're going to take this in the next 12 months, because I think we're sitting at a bit of a bypass right now, a bit crossroads maybe, where we've kind of got two mindsets. One, do we stay bootstrapped and do we keep it really small like we have and keep reiterating the product for another 12 months and get it to the point where it's kind of really slickly ticking over and we're kind of plugged all the holes that we still see that we've got, and in a year's time be actually maybe not focusing on scaling the product massively, but building a core user base of repeat users, repeat customers that really buy into what we do and actually become a little bit of like a brand advocate for what we're trying to do. Or we've got the opportunity where we are sitting in offers of investment where we can take that money, we can pump a lot of money into digital marketing, online advertisements, pay-per-click, and also go to software. So we're kind of looking at two options really in the next 12 months in which way we're going to go. And I can see positives and negatives to both, if that makes sense. And in the next kind of couple of weeks, I think we're going to make a big decision on which way our future is going to go and where we want to take it. I know that doesn't really answer your question, because the honest answer is I don't know which way we're going to go yet. But it'll be interesting to see what we decide.
Where are you heading off to in Australia? Whereabouts?
So he's in Sydney.
Cool.
So yeah, luckily for him, he's still out there, right? It was he said to me that he was going to come back to the UK. I think kind of the agreement is that as and when the business requires him to be here, he'll come. He's actually from Brighton, and he's been out in Australia for 15 years, so has a citizenship out there. And the agreement was, whilst because he's not customer facing at all, he can do his work from there, and we communicate via Slack.
That's interesting from a business point of view that you've got a footprint in two markets.
Yeah, definitely. And because I recruited out there as well, I've weirdly got quite a few contacts out there that have messaged me via LinkedIn. They keep up to date with kind of the content that I'm posting, and they say to me, as and when you bring this out there, let me know, because I'll trial it for you. I'll be kind of like initial users out in Australia. But again, I think we got to focus to getting one thing at a time. So I don't see us kind of going out there anytime soon. But definitely the big plan is to get out there and take it international. And that would probably be. It would make so much sense that would be the next place that we'd look, because, as you say, we've already got somebody out there, and I've already got connections and a network out there as well. So
no, that's good to hear. What sort of competitors do you see, and how do you feel you differentiate yourself against them?
So the big competitor that we have here in the UK is a business called Hiring Hub. They're also a marketplace for the recruitment industry as well, doing a very similar thing to us. They are spread out across any industry, though. They cover more industries, they cover more areas. They are more mature than us because they've been around for longer. I think the kind of big differentiators between us and our other competitors, because there is a few more out there as well, is that what we're trying to be is the only marketplace that actually connects employers to freelance or independent recruiters rather than recruitment agencies. And the reason that we're doing that is because we think that to change the industry and provide something different, we've got to go for the pure freelance model, because if we just connect people to other recruitment agencies, that's kind of facilitating the industry the way it is. It's a bit corny, a bit cheesy, but I looked at the other kind of disruptive technologies out there, the likes of your Uber or Airbnb, to pick the common ones. And Uber obviously connects the individual rider to the individual driver rather than the taxi company, and Airbnb does it with the individual host rather than the hotel chain. For us, we want to be that kind of Uber or Airbnb of the recruitment industry. So it's about creating a pool of independent recruiters that all work for themselves, and employers then get a kind of different service, because they don't go to a recruitment agency and get that type of service. They get a bespoke service where they're connected to an individual that I believe will provide a more personalized service, if that makes sense. And it's also about giving opportunity to recruiters. I worked for an agency. You got 20% commission on everything that I build. You know, you have the office hours, you don't have the flexibility, you work long hours, and then get 20% of everything you bill. And for me, I want to provide an opportunity for recruiters to go, well, actually, do you know what? There's this platform over here where I can keep 90% of what I bill. I can be my own boss. I can have flexible time. I can work my own hours and all the rest of it, to actually provide an option for recruiters to say, hey, I'm going to go off and start my own company and do my own thing. And I've got the security here of Sniiper to act as the back office. So that's kind of one of the big differentiators. I think the other thing that is a differentiator for us is we actually allow recruiters and employers to have direct contact. This is something that has pros and cons to it. Now I believe that to provide a good service and to facilitate the industry, if we act as a third party in the middle and actually manage all the communication, it slows things down. I think with a lot of our competitors, you have the employer and they would deal with the account managers of the marketplace, and then the account managers that work at the marketplace then pass the message on to the recruiter, and back and forth. The recruiter never gets to directly speak with the client. And for me, I think that makes it hard for the recruiter because they don't get the opportunity to qualify the job properly. And I think the main thing is that things get lost in translation, right? When you're passing messages in between, it takes longer and things get lost. So we actually say, right, okay, we want to be a platform that connects people directly. We don't want to manage the recruitment. So when an employer and a recruiter connect with us, we step out the way and we let the recruiter and employer speak. I think it makes it better from a process perspective, but one of the big issues that we potentially can have is that we can be circumnavigated quite easily. And that's one thing that investors have brought up a lot of the time in our conversations, is by actually connecting the recruiter and the employer together, you open yourself up for being completely cut out of the process. So it does have the negative connotation to it as well. But yeah, I think it's the way to go. And as I say, it makes us, it differentiates us at the moment slightly from the way that the other marketplaces are working.
I suppose the concerns from the investor's point of view is the monetary value. So how do you generate revenue?
Yeah, so we generate revenue with every successful placement that goes through the system. And at the moment, the way that it works is, well, because I'm very hands-on with the system and I know what's going on, I'm very close with all the employers and the users that are on the platform. So I think that kind of protects us slightly. It's obviously not scalable though, which I understand. But what we do have is, because we have a standardized set of terms, that helps us quite a lot. Employers come to the site and they like the fact that once they've signed the Sniiper terms of business, you don't have to sign terms with every individual agency. You can use any recruiter on our platform underneath our contract. And what that means is that if we are to be cut out, for the employer to be protected, they need to sign terms with that recruiter directly. They would actually have to sign an agreement. And that takes time, right? It takes a negotiation. It takes time for them to read through that document. And that protects us as well, because employers are like, I don't want to sign your terms. I just want to deal with this through the platform, and it has that convenience. It's another reason as well why we went to the freelance model, because the freelancers and independents get so much from us that I feel like they have no motivation to cut us out, because the way that they talk to me about it is, well, you know, you help me get my foot through the door, chase the fees, you take care of the legal. Like small independent recruiters, their biggest struggle is you know, knocking down these doors and getting in front of these employers. It's tough because there's so many other people out there. So we provide this platform that does that for them. And a lot of them have kind of said to me, well, there's no point me biting the hand that feeds me, because if you shut me down, because we will shut people down if we find out they've tried to cut us out. And they're like, if you shut me off the platform, it cuts off the leads that I'm getting and the opportunity that you're presenting me. So that was another reason that we've done it. And we're just going to have to police it as close as we can. Other things that we can do further down the line is, like, have you heard of Upwork?
No. Tell me more.
Upwork are just like a freelancer portal. Have you heard of freelancer.com or People Per Hour?
No.
So they're just marketplaces where freelancers can connect with anybody that needs a job doing. So if I went to upwork.com, I could hire a lawyer, or I could hire a developer to build a website. I could hire somebody to come over and do my plumbing or whatever it is. You put a job on there, you'll get responses. Same thing that we're doing. You know, the two parties are connected and the work is done. And what Upwork do quite cleverly is they have an escrow account where they take a deposit. Mm-hmm. So with the employer, we would take a deposit and say, right, okay, your estimated fee for this recruitment process is going to be whatever. We will then take that deposit. We can hold that in an escrow account, again, as another deterrent for people to not cut us out, because we've already got part of that cash. It's easy just to run it through the system.
Covered off a lot of ground. I think it's really exciting to hear what you've done today already and where you're going for the next sort of 12, 24 months. Will you be happy to come back in 12 months and share your experiences with the listeners?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Is it in 12 months' time?
So in 12 months' time, yes. So I'll be in contact, of course, over the period of the 12 months just to see how you're getting on. But from a recording standpoint, yes.
Yeah, definitely. It puts the pressure on as well, right?
Yeah, well, there's an element of accountability. You're talking about what you're doing, and it's seeing whether you do it. And
yeah. That's brilliant.
It's good to see, and I'm personally evaluating individuals. What makes a business great from a human perspective? What is the profile of an individual that becomes an Elon Musk, becomes a Sir Richard Branson, and so on?
Deluded, I think. That's a fucking answer for that. Oh, honest to God, it's delusion. It really is.
From the outside, but from the inside, it's self-belief, strength in you knowing that you can solve a problem, and you have a great idea that needs to come to fruition. I think there's two ways of looking at everything.
Yeah, I think discipline is massive for this, because like for me, I've been working on my own. Like a lot of this year, it's been really hard, and I think sometimes people can, when that temptation's there of like, oh, I can put my feet up at 2 p.m, or it's Friday, I'm going to take a 3-day weekend or whatever. You obviously get those kind of temptations. And I think when you're starting something like this, you've got to be disciplined, and you've got to say, no one's watching you. So it's easy to just to bunk off and not do anything. So I think you need to have discipline to say, right, no one's watching, but I'm still going to be working hard, and I'm still going to be pushing, because like you say, if you don't, then nobody else is doing it and there's no results. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
I wish you all the best with regards to the next 12 months and the building of your business. Thank you so much for your input and insight.
It's a pleasure. We'll definitely keep in touch, and thanks for your time as well and the opportunity.
Luke, thank you. Speak to you again soon.
Speak to you soon. Cheers.
Bye.
So what do you think? We'll have another interesting story to dive into next week. Looking forward to it already. Some questions to you in the meantime. What is your story? What is your reality right now? And what are you working towards? Let me know. So you can connect with me on Twitter. Just type in Bash in the search and you'll find me. So Bash, B-A-S-H. Easy. On Instagram, it's Bash Reality. So that's Bash_reality. And on LinkedIn, Benjamin Ashmore. Make sure you subscribe, and until next week, cheers.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.